What's going on, everybody? So this week, going into June 26th to June 30th, we're going to run through some of these sectors and then go into our watch list. So starting off with XLC here, we have a call trigger over 64.28 to target the 65.51 level, and then a put trigger below 63.55 to target 63.03, then down to 62.53. And then moving on to XLY. So XLY, we've been in this consolidation range for about the past week. We got left with the inside day on Friday, so we like calls above 166.96 to target this 167.53, and then from there up to 173.39. And then we also have a put trigger below 164.77 to target this 163.01 level, and then down to the gap fill at 160.05. XLP, really like XLP a lot this week. So we got left with a 3-bar outside day. So like calls above 74.39 to target that 74.76 level, and then from there up to the gap fill up to 75.92. And then we like puts below 73.74 to target this 73.26 down to 72.24 level. And then XLE, like calls above 77.57 to target that 79.65, then up to the gap fill up to 80.15. Like puts below 76.72 to target the 75.81 level. And then I'll pass it over to Rob to finish the rest of the sectors.
Guys, we're gonna round it out here with the last 7 sectors. First off is XLF, so we got the 2 down on the week. So below 32.52 is gonna be your put trigger, and above this is gonna be 33.30 for your call trigger. Your call PT is really gonna be this candle up here, 33.83. Your put target, no, that one's, so really it's gonna be down here, which is gonna be interesting for your put. It's gonna be 31.66. This has a lot of structure to it, so I wouldn't be surprised maybe if this week we do come down a little bit and then we bounce and turn bullish by the end of the week. So overall, XLF, really play this. It might finish inside on the week as well, or we could just see a kind of in the middle and then trigger up. So remember, 33.30 is your call trigger, 32.52 is going to be your put trigger. All right, XLV here. XLV is very interesting. So we had what we got here. We got a 2 down, failed 2 down. We got a 2 up doji, and then we got a 2 up here as well. And then we finished inside on the week. We wicked the top of this, so it's rather interesting. We pretty much bounced off of, I think this would be 50% of the order block. Yep, bounced off of 50% previous week with that order block, which is interesting. So for XLV, calls above 132.63, you're going to be looking for your first PT at 133.25. 130.39 is going to be your put trigger, with 129.70 being your first PT for your puts. Your second PT would be down here as well to fill the whole entire order block. If you get that filled, that order block, you're going to turn into a breaker bar, which will see a very quicker move down. So 128.78 is the bottom of that order block. Let's take a look here at XLI. XLI definitely has my attention, and it's actually one of the stocks that I have on one of the stocks I have on my watch list is an XLI. So XLI here, you kind of have a middle of the path candle. So puts below 102.91 to test this fair value gap here, 102.12. Your call trigger is going to be 105.13 up, and then really you're going to be looking at 106.60 for your ultimate PT for this week for XLI. The huge thing with XLI here, thank you TradingView, I have to adjust this down here, is XLI is pretty much at all-time highs, which is definitely interesting to say the least. So we do have that nice 2 up candle. You see a lot of buying come in, and then we have an inside candle. So really, with us being at all-time highs and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be something to watch moving forward. XLB here, your materials sector. Materials actually looked pretty good, which is interesting to me. Once again, like XLI, you got that inside candle on the week, so your call triggers be 80.85 with a first PT of 81.91. Our put trigger is going to be 79.07. We could say down here at 78.53, but I'm going to go 78.14 here to fill this volume imbalance between these two candles. So your put trigger is going to be 79.07. 78.14 is going to be your first put target. XLRE, the stock that's pretty much just doing a giant base here. What's really interesting to me is if you take this trend line here, we've been holding this trend line here, so we've really just been chopping within a range, making a series of higher lows. So let's see here if we can actually hold this low down here at 35.04, because we did see a nice push down on the week. So with this candle, the way that it closed, I would expect us to pretty much trigger down on the week. So 35.86 is going to be your put trigger on the week. And really, I would look at 35.04. If we break below 35.04, we might be looking to sweep this level down here at around 34.37. And then we ultimately have this one all the way down here at 33.10. If we want to play calls on this, we could. 37.21 is going to be your trigger, followed by 38.06 is going to be your first target for calls on XLRE. XLK. Oh boy, tech finally cooled off. However, it bounced off of an order block. So is tech about to rip again? We can see here 167.94 is going to be our put trigger. And really, I would look for the fill of this order block. You do have a small volume imbalance in here, that's a few cents, but 163.08 would be my ultimate target on the week for XLK for my puts. However, I have a very hard feeling that this thing is just gonna pull a Yui and just turn around on us. 172.90 is going to be our call trigger, followed by our first PT here of 176.30. This is an order block as well. And if we do a little zoom out here, we can see we've pretty much created a giant cup. Are we going to consolidate here and create a handle and then go we? And you have your classic cup and handle move for your TA here. So XLK overall does seem bullish on the week. XLU, wow, that is a nasty candle. So came back down here. I was thinking we were going to get the 2-2 continuation, maybe upwards here because we had a nice move up. No, it said we hit 50%. I'm going to guess right here. Yep, 50% of the previous candle. Done. And we filled out this nice volume imbalance as well. So for puts on the week, it's going to be 64.94 that we're going to be looking at for our put trigger. Really, we have these relative equal lows down here, which is going to be quite juicy. So is this a simple liquidity grab that we're going to look for here of hit 63.96 and then we're going to reverse back up? Or are we going to come all the way down here at 63.38 and grab liquidity? Or we even have some all the way down here at 60.35, which is interesting. We do have a squeeze forming as well in DTM. We did see a lot of sellers step in as well compared to the buyers in the previous week. So that's definitely interesting. We are seeing sector rotation as well. So keep in mind, we have the end of the month quickly approaching us. Several things are going to happen this week that might cause the market to go absolutely bonkers. But overall, that's the sectors that we have for the week. I'm not really going to be looking at calls for XLU because this candle is absolutely nasty and tells me it's going to continue downwards. Now, for my watch list on the week, let's adjust this really quickly so everything fits properly. Okay, thank you, TradingView. I don't know why they made this update. It's really annoying. So Apple is going to be on my watch list. Apple. I think everyone is absolutely sleeping on this. I'm not sleeping on it because Apple is just on a tear. It had the lowest volume week and it still made a new all-time high, which is just bananas to think about. What are we doing here? We're just doing a 2-up after 2-up after 2-up. We had this doji here and we just reversed back up. So calls above 187.56, aim for the sky. Puts below 182.59. You can really take a look here at your first target of 180.97, and then we could come all the way down here to 177.32. Apple is a little bit of a slow mover. I'm personally not really going to be looking for puts on it because I think it's just going to be a quick mover because XLK is definitely in that position as well to continue to rip upwards. Let's go from the bottom up, I guess. All right, so Google make Dougal is definitely very, very interesting for me here. So we had a nice move up and we're just kind of chopping around here. We did trigger down here on the week, so we got that 2 down, but it's a long leg. I would almost call this a doji. May not technically be a doji, but We're going to take calls above 124.57 and really aim for 126.11. But if Google really gets above 129.04, this volume imbalance over here is going to be absolutely juicy in the 130s. We want to play puts on Google here. 118.83 is going to be our trigger, followed by 116.01. Honestly, I would look to maybe pull this down to 116. If we get down into this area, I would almost expect a gap because this is a bullish order block with a bullish fair value gap on top of it. So that one XLI stock that I'm sure absolutely everybody and their mother hates is Boeing. I love playing Boeing because you just have to be patient with it. The huge thing that I see here is we have relative equal lows here. It almost looks like an inducement model, or you could say it's almost one giant inverse head and shoulders as well. We did see a heavy, and when I mean heavy sell, we saw a heavy sell. I mean, the candles here, we see the squeeze forming as well. This orange squeeze is the highest squeeze that you can get on the TTM, so just keep that in mind. So for Boeing on the week below 202.55, really you're going to be looking for puts. You're going to want to target pretty much these relative equal lows here at 291. And if you really want to get risky with it, you could play 196.60, my bad. But really, it seems like Boeing has really held this level here, so I would almost look at that, say, not going to try to risk it going all the way down there. 219.29 is going to be your call trigger, followed by 223.91. Ultimately, I would like to see us come up here and grab liquidity at 229.67. I absolutely think Boeing can do it. It's just going to take some time. We are approaching earnings as well. So keep that in mind. Earnings season is upon us as well. Target. I am going to keep this on my watch list and I'm going to pound the absolute crap out of this because this stock, people I feel like are absolutely sleeping on it. Insight on the week, we got a high volume week last week. We got a very low volume week last week, which kind of seems to be the trend across the market. So maybe we might see volume step in this week, or it might be the week after. I know we're getting into the summertime here in the US, so it definitely could be a lot of people are just taking a step out and just kind of putting things on ease and being like, we'll just stay cash and not worry about it. 133.98 is going to be your call trigger, with your absolute target being 130, your first PT, not your absolute target, but your first PT being 138.08. You do have gaps on the daily that we can take a look at as well. If you want to play puts, 130.32 is going to be your put trigger, followed by really going to be looking at 125.08 for your first PT. When we take a look at target on the daily, you can see gap after gap after gap after gap. So really, honestly, if we can get above this level here at 138.08, we should start filling all these gaps because you got a nice PMG to the upside. But really, that's my watch list for the week, and I'll throw it back over to Zeus for his.
So this week, top plays that I'm watching is Netflix. Honestly, like Netflix calls. Netflix calls over 425.82 to target that 434.55 level, then up to that 447.39 level, and then up to 458 and into the gap potentially. Not really too interested in puts, but we do have a put trigger below that 417.73 level. And as far as I'm targeting, would be the gap fill down to 409.54. Next up, AMD. AMD, we just completed this gap fill, so kind of want to see if buyers are willing to step back in here. Kind of more so interested in the call side as well. So like calls above this 111.10 level to target this 114 level, then up to 119.19. Not really too interested in the put trigger again, but we have a put trigger below that 107.46 level to target that 105.64, then down to 103.49. And next up, CVS. CVS kind of like it for either direction, whether we get that continuation into the gap fill up to 72.26, or we potentially push down and displace down to the downside, maybe grab some more sell side liquidity. So honestly, only looking to target the gap fill up to that 72.26 on CVS. Put trigger as well. We have a put trigger down to at 69.16. Overall, not really targeting much past this order block right here, which is about that 69 level. So really only interested in CVS, AMD, and Netflix going into this week.